Hey guys, I'm gonna be doing a sketchbook tour. Yeah, so here I go. I originally got this sketchbook for the Sketchbook Slam Challenge, but I don't have time for that. So I'm just gonna do a tour every 100 pages that I fill. So yeah. Okay. So I started this sketchbook back in October, and then I've been working in it on and off since. So looks like I started with some figure studies. They're very scribbly and loose, and they overlap a lot because I was just like following timers, I think. So like 30 seconds to a minute of just sketching these figures, so like they're all over the place. Looks like some ladies. I started in pencil, but I think later in the sketchbook I started going more, I started using like pen and felt tip pen, just because it doesn't smudge very much. So yeah, some loose figures. Oh, I started focusing on feet, because feet are definitely something I struggle with. Oh yeah, I started looking at like the bone structure, because that's how I like to study anatomy, because how can I draw the thing if I don't know how it's structured on the inside? Oh, so yeah, so there's the skeleton, there's the muscles, different views of feet, a broken foot. Let's see. Oh, then I did some more figure studies over here. I think this is when I switched to ballpoint pen. Let's see. There's more feet, hands, a guy resting. I noticed I tend to draw legs super long. Like I do it in my studies, and I do it in like regular drawings. Yeah, I draw legs really long. Whoops. Crows. So yeah, I had to start drawing crows for Magpie, because they show up a lot in Magpie, but I didn't know how to draw them. So if you look at the early pages of Magpie with crows, they're all terrible. So I sat down and started learning them. Like I looked at the skeletons again and the musculature. Like I just didn't get it at first, especially the wings. I was like, what the heck? More crow studies. Little baby crow. For the longest time, I didn't understand like how their beaks worked, like how they opened and closed. Still having trouble with the wings over here. Oh, I started drawing cats for 9 point because most of the characters are cats, so I had to figure out how to draw them. So these are from studies, I believe, or from photographs. And then photographs. I don't know about this one. Probably started with a reference. More cats from reference. He's got a lot rougher. I was probably just doing quick sketches. Some more birds. I think I looked at sparrows. Yeah, I think these are all sparrows. Because I was like, okay, I don't really get crows. Maybe if I look at birds that aren't all black, I'll be able to understand like the feathers and the structure a bit more. So yeah, it helped a little bit. I think that's another sparrow there. And then I went back to crows. Crows and ravens. Like they're not all crows and they're not all ravens. It's like a mix. Still having a lot of trouble here trying to figure out the beaks. I found like with every drawing of them, I got a little bit more understanding. Here I was trying to figure out the eye and like how it works with the beak. Same here. I started breaking it down into like lines and shapes that I could memorize a bit easier instead of like trying to draw all the different parts of the form at once. Again, figuring out the beak, here I drew it too long. It looks kind of like a seagull beak. And then here it got a little bit more structured like a crow or a raven. And then here it got a bit better. Like I said, with every drawing, there's like a little more understanding. Oh, some figure studies it looks like. Like I remember this one was made with a reference. This one was not, as you can tell from the wonky proportions. Like her legs are 1,000,000 miles long, and her arms are super long. So I think this is my OC Esther. She's from like a fantasy book I've been trying to write. Drawing some little expressions. Oh, there's Trixie from Magpie. Trixie and Amanda. I think I drew this for Halloween. Yep, Halloween. There's Dylan. There's Amanda. Oh, and then I was like, I'm gonna try owls. They're really cute. More crows. Yeah, I kept trying to figure out other birds so that I could figure out crows a bit easier. More crows. This one was really hard because it was all in shadow. I couldn't really like tell the contours or the feather shape. So yeah, it didn't turn out so good. Then I went on to studying like landscapes and interiors. This is obviously an interior. It was like a kitchen I saw on Pinterest, I think. Oh, more studies. So this one was like a patio, like an outdoor patio or something. This one was like the interior of a living room. Oh, started drawing. Oh, this is just like from around my house. So that's my dog Matica. That's my cat Molly. Aww. I know. She passed away like last year after I drew this. Did a little study of some headphones. And then, Trixie and Amanda smooching. More crows. These are very rough. They were probably like the beginning of a drawing session, I think. Oh, and some figure studies. I was trying to figure out kind of like, I don't think they can hear you. Oh, he's telling stupid puns. Figure it out. Right, so I was looking at like kind of male musculature, especially in the legs and the torso. Like pec muscles and then like thighs and stuff. Oh, and then a lady. I really like this pose. It's neat to see just like how the hips work. And then this one too, to see like how the arch of the back works. Because I always think it's just gonna be like a simple like arc, like a rainbow or something, but there's actually like a straight line and then a curve, and it just depends on the person's back too. More figure studies up here. I think my main focus was on the legs. Still trying to figure those out and trying not to make them so long. They did end up very long here. Then just some more figure studies with like, sometimes I just look up like street fashion and then draw figure studies from there. It's kind of like a clothing and figure study. Then I tried to do some landscapes here. I didn't understand. I think like with landscapes, I need to sit down and really like study them and work on like building up the detail in them. Oh, okay, my screen turned off. Okay. Yep, some more figure. Well, a figure here, then some dogs. I love this face. Then I tried to do some like face studies, like portraiture. Because I know I make like noses very flat. So I was just trying to figure out kind of the shape of the face and making sure that the nose didn't get flattened. The lips are looking a little flat there, but eh. Oh, this is also during Inktober, so I figured out like that we have like a dip pen, so I was trying that out. It's very wonky here. Just trying out different pens. Drew a blue jay. Still trying to figure out the ink pen. So these are characters from an RP with me and Bones. I think that's his character Sid, and that's my character Matt, I think. I don't really think their designs worked out. Like, I'm not sure if that's how I imagined them, but I just wanted to practice with the pen. And I drew Bones, being a cutie. A really wonky cartoon cat. More trying out the ink. I went back to ballpoint pen, again focusing on the legs. I wrote a note saying I think I got the proportions better, but I don't think I did. Some doodles. Oh, I was trying to thumbnail some ideas for like prints. I think this one's Finch and Amanda from the Magpie. That one's Trixie. This one's Mitzi from Scourge of 9 Point. They didn't turn into anything. I was just scribbling out ideas. Then I did more doodles. If you notice the ink blots here, that I'll explain later. I hate when I do pages like this where it's just like random scribbles of like kind of cartoon characters without any real thought behind it. I find it's what I do when I'm just like I want to draw, but I don't know what to draw, so I'm just like doodling without really thinking about it. And I usually get some like not so good quality out of it, and I go back to a lot of my defaults. So yeah, I've been trying to avoid doing that more and more. This one's again more mindless doodling, so going to a lot of defaults here. Oh, there's my OCs, Violette and Astrid. They're from that fantasy book. Oh, and then when I was planning out I wanted to do 2 novellas for NaNoWriMo last year. So these were, it was going to be 2 romance novellas. One was about a couple investigating like one of the guys, his childhood home, which is haunted. And then this story was about 2 girls trying to open a bakery or a cafe and then falling in love. So I wanted to do 2 romance novellas. I didn't end up writing them, but I wrote out outlines for both of them. More cats. So I think this is where it happened. Yeah, it was. So I was trying to fill my ink pen because I noticed here it was getting like really dry. So I was like, oh, I'll just fill up the pen. And we have like a little dropper thing, and you open the pen up and you drop fresh ink into it. Well, you're only supposed to put like 2 or 3 drops of ink, and I put like 10 in. So when I closed the cap of the pen, this happened, and it bled through a bunch of pages. So, yep. And it went all over my pants and on the table. So that was fun. More cat studies. These are all based off photos. Again, more cat studies, trying to figure out how their bodies work. Same here. Oh, the kit's kissing. More studies. I found a really good picture of a cat just like laying on a board like this. And then I tried to do one that's more like a value study. I'm alright with it. More crow studies. Things got kind of wonky again because I hadn't drawn them in a while. More crow studies. Oh, trying to draw my cat Tuna. These 2 were studies, and then like just a little cartoon version. Oh, more OCs from the fantasy book. There's Esther. I don't want to name them all. I feel so lame. Oh, yeah. Num, num, num. Would they like to hear about them? I'm weird. I'm super embarrassed about like my writing. I'm like, no, it's no good. So Esther's the main character of the book. She's a princess and a diva. I don't know. The story is going through a lot of rewrites, so her character's kind of changing. But anyway, so there's Esther. There's her fiance Stephen. Moreau. He looks like Dylan, I realize. So I need to change his design. But Dylan from Magpie, that is. Right, so he's actually the love interest. Like, originally, Esther's engaged to Stephen, and then she falls for another dude. There's Hugo. He's another character from it. Esther in a wedding dress, looking grumpy. Oh, and then I tried to draw a bunch of characters from Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Such a great series. So I think there's Jesper, Wylan.
Isn't it Jesper?
I don't know anymore because I thought you pronounced that name as Jesper, and then I listened to the audiobook and they said Jesper.
That'd be right.
So it's probably Jesper. Tried to draw Matthias, Nina, Inej, Kaz. There's Nina and Matthias, Nina and Kaz again. Some more doodling. I was looking at figures again. And then more cats. I was looking at sphinxes, which are hairless cats, and they're all wrinkly and cute. And I found one in a little sweater. More crow studies. Oh, and then I was trying to draw, so in Magpie there's 3 crows that end up showing up, but that are like named characters, so I was trying to figure out like how to make them distinctive and drawing like different iterations of them. Whoa, that was a big jump. I think that's like, these are from December 3rd, and then this is December 30th. See, I'm not very consistent with drawing in sketchbooks. Oh, some magpie doodles. I wanted to draw all the characters being cute together. There's Trixie and Amy. There's Tammy and Trixie, Amy and Amanda. And there's Trixie, Amanda, and there's Dylan from the Magpie. See, he looks exactly like Moreau. I didn't realize I designed the same character twice. Whoops. More crow studies here. I was trying to figure out how to give like the look a bit more of a stylized look instead of like just having a study and then like painting my style on top. It's going. More doodles. I was looking at like different clothing. Oh, and then I was reading The Dark Artifices by Cassandra Clare. So I drew all the characters: Kieran, Emma, Kitten Ty, Mark. And I was trying to draw weapons. Drew Esther with a sword. Oh, and then I read, so I drew these after Christmas. I got, The Language of Thorns, I think is the book. It's another one by Leigh Bardugo, set in the same universe as Six of Crows. So I was drawing different characters from all the short stories in it, and then the Darkling. Oh, and then getting into January, I started to try to draw. So the fantasy book is called Starlight. So I was trying to draw all the characters. So there's Gabriel. He's Esther's sister. Trying to draw Esther. That's their dad, the king. Gabriel and Esther again. That's Violette. Moreau. Moreau looks like tired Dylan. Sorry, my screen keeps turning off. Right, so I was trying to figure out like actual design features, like making sure they all look like they're related. Yeah, I keep dabbling between like wanting to do like an illustrated novel or a comic. Who knows? I figured it'll never be done. But there's Esther and Moreau. He's like a little mage and like an apothecary, or like he makes medicine at the castle. And so he's always drawing and researching and stuff, and she's how do you talk? She's very rude. There's Astrid. She's another character from it. She's the handmaiden. Esther's handmaiden. She's cute. Oh, and then I started doing more character designs for... I've always wanted to write like a fairy book, because I grew up reading Holly Black's work. So she did like the modern fairy tales.
Oh my god, I've been dabbling with making a fairy book.
What? Bones?
I want to do like an illustrated novelette series.
Bones just told me my dream. He wants to do a fairy series of books, and I want to do that so bad. That's all I've ever wanted. Please. Right, so I grew up reading Holly Black, who does a lot of books about fairies. So I was trying to draw out characters for an idea I've had. So here's Lark. He's a changeling. There's his mom, Lady Amity. Prince Sorrow is a character in it. I can't decide if he's the villain or the love interest. But yeah, he's got cool horns and oh no. Bleep that out. And I was trying to figure out kind of like the fashion of the fairies. So I was thinking for like so there's the two courts, the Seelie and the Unseelie court. So I was thinking for the Seelie court, their designs and clothing would all be like based off flowers, and then the Unseelie court would be like based off fungi. So I was playing around with that here. Sorrow and Lark. Oh, and then I think that's the Unseelie prince. Maybe? Prince Fell? I don't know. Then some other characters from it. Helena and Jamie. I think Jamie was supposed to be one of the villains. He's like a human that hates fairies. And then I did some more scenery studies. So that's the interior of a cafe, and that's the exterior. I think they're different cafes. It was based off photography. Some more doodling. Again, I hate when I do like pages like this, where it's very mindless. It doesn't really have an objective. I mean, it's good when you just need to like meditate and zone out, but I don't know. I rarely like the results. Oh. So for a while in February, I was super like, my anxiety really flared. So I was trying to do like a positivity journal, and so part of it was like drawing cute animals that support me. It was Bone's suggestion. Drawing. Oh god, and then this was February, and then this is when I started it back up in April. Some more Starlight characters. There's Astrid. I think that's Gabriel. Could also be Steven, because their designs are very similar, and I need to like fix that. And there's Esther. And then one night I was like, what if I just did a comic of Starlight and drew it all in the sketchbook? And then I tried, and it didn't work out. Yeah, traditional drawing comics is very hard. I don't know how you folks do it. More scenery studies. This is like a house. And then interior. I did some like close-ups of different objects in it. Very loose, just trying to figure out kind of like proportion more than like accuracy, I guess. Well, I guess accuracy of proportion, but yeah, very gestural. I think this one was the interior of the Versailles Palace. One of the interiors of it. It was very detailed. Eventually I just gave up. It turned out very gestural. It would be interesting to like continue this picture and like see how much I could build it up. But yeah, I think this is another interior from that, and then some fashion, some like street fashion studies. And then this is pretty recent, like this is from April 14th. Oh, and then one night, it was like 1 a.m. I think, and I was just doodling, pretty mindless, at least here, like just drawing like cute little furries. And then I was trying to draw, so Bones and I have an RP with like werewolves and vampires, and I was trying to draw his werewolf character, Parker. And I couldn't figure it out. I don't know how I imagined him. And then, yeah, so I didn't end up figuring out, and it was 1 a.m. and I was tired and I went to bed. Oh, and then April 15th, I got a whole bunch of books on fashion. I did a video talking about that, but I got this one book that's all about like dresses throughout history. So like these are from the 1800s. They're super pretty. Oh, and then I also have another book full of like what people wore through like the medieval ages up until I think like the 19th century or something. But yeah, so I was trying to draw like armor, different armor sets, learning it for Scourge of Ninepoint, which is like a fantasy medieval setting. So yeah, I wanted to figure out more about armor and what people wore traditionally. I think these are from Middle Ages or a little after that, so like medieval times. Same with this one here, and then this one's more into the 15th century. I love all the cloaks and like big sleeves they wore. They're so cool. I think these are also in like the 14th, 15th century. Women in dresses. They wore like tons of layers, like everyone did, to like get rid of the odor of, because like they don't wash very often because there isn't like indoor plumbing or anything. So they wore tons and tons of layers, and then they'd have like a cotton layer at the very bottom that they'd wash semi-regularly. So yeah, that's why they're all wearing big clothes like this. And this one's from 15th century. They had these tiny little doublets when their butts hung out. I mean, they wore tights, but like, yeah, the booties were there. More tunics. They all also wore a lot of like hoods and cowls and stuff. And they all have like really pointy shoes. And then here's the end of the tour. But yeah, more clothes. A lady in a big cloak and a dress. I think this was like a big senator's robe or something. Again, I think these are from like the 14th, 15th century. And then, yeah, and then a guy in puffy pants. So yeah, there you go. So I still have like 500 pages left of this book. So like I said, every 100 pages I will do a new tour. So yeah, there you go. Through my sketchbook, I'm always a lot happier when I'm doing studies. One, I like fill the page faster, and I also feel like I'm being very productive. Because like I said, I don't like it when I just sit there doodling nothing and just like reinforce my defaults for how things look instead of like challenging myself to draw something new. So yeah, so hopefully I can fill this book with more cute studies, especially of clothes, because oh my god, I'm in love with historical clothing right now. So yeah, I guess thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And have a really good day. Okay, goodbye.